This is West Virginia Morning. I'm Teresa Wills. Train disasters in years gone by have given rise to an unexpected niche genre in Appalachian ballads.
Appalachian ballads are really important. They are story songs. They're one of the first sort of cultural exports of Appalachia.
That story and more coming up this West Virginia Morning. Support for West Virginia Morning is provided by Hope Gas, committed to the growth and development of West Virginia to strengthen the community. Information at wvisforhope.com. A state delegate accused of enticing a minor has officially resigned from the House of Delegates. Chris Schultz has more.
The one-sentence resignation from David Elliott Pritt, which simply reads, quote, "I resign from the West Virginia House of Delegates effective immediately," unquote, was released as Pritt was scheduled to appear in court. The now former delegate from Fayette County and public school teacher was arrested and charged last week for enticing a minor after an investigation alleged he exchanged explicit images with a student before escalating to sexual abuse. House Speaker Roger Hanshaw formally requested Governor Patrick Morrisey call a special session of the House of Delegates to expel Pritt, a call the governor said he was ready to answer if a resignation was not forthcoming. In a statement accompanying the resignation, Hanshaw said, quote, "Our thoughts remain with these families and these victims." If convicted, Pritt faces a sentence of not less than 10 years to life imprisonment. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Chris Schultz in Morgantown.
Before Pritt submitted his resignation, he waived his right to a detention hearing. He will remain behind bars. The next step is to convene a grand jury to hear the charges against him. Over the weekend, Governor Patrick Morrisey formally requested that President Donald Trump issue an expedited major disaster declaration for West Virginia following the severe storms and flash flooding that struck the state last week. The request seeks federal individual assistance and public assistance for Barber, Doddridge, Harrison, Lewis, Pleasants, Ritchie, and Upshur counties, along with statewide hazard mitigation funding to help communities recover and strengthen infrastructure against future disasters. Morrisey's request follows a statewide state of preparedness issued July 21st, followed later that evening by a statewide state of emergency as conditions rapidly deteriorated. Flood damage has left families displaced, destroyed homes and personal property, and placed substantial recovery costs on local governments. The governor's request emphasizes that federal assistance is necessary because the disaster exceeds the capabilities of state, local, and charitable resources. Meanwhile, across north central West Virginia, cleanup efforts continue with the help of scores of volunteers. Maria Young reports.
The town of Weston, with a population of just under 4,000, was one of the hardest hit areas. Flash floods came at a pace Mayor Kim Harrison said is unprecedented.
It came about so much quicker and impacted so many people that have never been flooded before.
Almost immediately afterwards, though, she said the town was flooded in a very different way, with thousands of volunteers coming to help.
We've got stations set up all over town that are manned by volunteers. Church groups have gone door to door offering assistance with cleanup. It's just amazing.
Among the groups that have stepped up, Scouts in Fayette County for their annual National Jamboree. Gordon Shadows with Scouting America says they create hygiene kits and flood buckets for those faced with natural disasters.
For the flood buckets, it's a 5-gallon bucket with cleaning supplies, gloves, tarps, everything, things people need there as they start cleaning up after this disaster.
More than 2,500 kits were delivered to the National Guard over the weekend, one organization among the many groups, nonprofits, churches, and thousands of individuals who've come in to help. Weston's Mayor Harrison says her town will be recovering for a long time to come.
As cheesy as it sounds, this disaster is the best tourism commercial for Weston and Lewis County that you could possibly ever get. Because people always look for a community where you're family and where everyone helps one another. And I've seen that in spades from the first moment of rainfall.
For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Maria Young in Charleston.
Traditional Appalachian ballads have found new life in the form of an audio drama podcast produced by the Appalachian Book Company. For the Appalachia Mid-South Newsroom, Andrew Henderson brings us a reimagined story of a traditional railroad disaster ballad.
He was found in the wreck with his hand on the throttle and scalded to death with a steam.
In 1924, singer Vernon Dalehart became the first country music star to sell 1 million records with his rendition of The Wreck of the Old 97, along with his recording of The Prisoner's Song. The Wreck of the Old 97 is a railroad disaster ballad that tells the story of train number 97, the fast mail train of the Southern Railway, and engineer Joseph Brody, who ran the train so fast it jumped its tracks on September 27, 1903, outside of Danville, Virginia, killing 11 people, including Brody, and injuring 7 others.
When I began to think about how I would tell a story about Joseph Brody, my initial feelings was I was annoyed with him. I was angry with him because I felt that the choices he made killed people.
Anne Gillespie is a playwright who lives in Brooklyn. She wrote the audio play The Nightmare of the Old 97 for the Appalachia Book Company's Storied Song, a new podcast that takes traditional Appalachian ballads and transforms them into fully produced radio plays and live ballad performances. Modern ballads are widely seen as being love songs, but the ballads that comprise the Storied Song are a far cry from a traditional love song or sentimental ballad. In addition to The Wreck of the Old 97, other traditional ballads in the Storied Song include Lord Bateman, The Farmer's Cursed Wife, and Tom Dooley.
Down your head, Tom Dooley, hang down your head and cry.
That's Tom Dooley, an Appalachian murder ballad. Railroad disaster ballads are also a well-known subgenre of balladry. They're even the subject of a book titled Scalded to Death by the Steam by Katie Letcher-Lyle.
What she speaks about growing up learning these train wreck ballads from her grandpa in Appalachia was that there was a real repetition to this style of song.
Many railroad disaster ballads follow a pattern, dramatic phrases like this.
When his whistle broke into a scream.
It also sets the scene for listeners, showing them when and where the action occurs, oftentimes following the train route.
It's a mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville and a line on a 3-mile grade.
Then we have the hero of the ballad, often a brave engineer who is driving the machine that was running the world. But is Brody a hero in The Wreck of the Old 97? What does it mean to be remembered? And what do we owe the people in these ballads? These are the motivating questions behind Gillespie's radio play, which sees Brody, played by Holden Howard, having a conversation in the afterlife with an unnamed singer played by Celeste Holmes, who helps Brody recount the lead-up to the fatal crash and make sense of the legacy he's unknowingly left behind.
My whole life, all the moments that had been, why is this the one I live in now? Of all of them. Let me off this track. My whole life. Please no more.
I'm sorry. It's not for us to let you go. I am one in a chain of singers. You move through us, and we go through this with you.
The Storied Song has been a project 5 years in the making. Episodes were recorded last year at the Appalachian Center for the Arts in Pikeville. The Appalachia Book Company started as a book club in eastern Kentucky before transforming into a literary publishing company. Natalie Axton is the founder and director of programs for the Appalachia Book Company. She didn't want to constrain the group's storytelling medium just to the written word.
Appalachian ballads are really important. They are story songs. They're one of the first sort of cultural exports of Appalachia.
The worst moment in Brody's life has been memorialized in song for over a century now. But is The Wreck of the Old 97 a fair way to remember him? For Gillespie, there's a sense of irony in that Brody achieves in death what he potentially set out to do in life, to be remembered. For the Appalachia Mid-South Newsroom, I'm Andrew Henderson.
This story was produced as part of the Appalachia Mid-South Newsroom, a collaboration between NPR and several public radio stations in West Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Visit the special series page under the news tab on our website to find a link to this story and more. West Virginia Morning is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content.